Hey everyone, 4.21. Are you seeing this? I'm pretty sure we just hit the all-time high, people. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but this looks like the peak for the entire crypto market cap. $4.21 trillion with a 2.7% pump. If we're not at the top, we're literally knocking on its door right now. Bitcoin's absolutely crushing it at 119,600. Ethereum's vibing above 4,400. And XRP, oh baby, it's reclaimed that number 3 throne like a boss. Ethereum, seriously though, watch your 6 because that second place crown is coming back home, friend. We've been there before, all the way back in 2018, remember? Currently posted up at 305. We've jumped 3.7 in the past day and an insane 9% this week. Price has been dancing between 2.92 and 3.04, keeping us on our toes. All right, quick reality check. The US government literally just shut down at 12:01 a.m. Eastern this morning because Congress dropped the ball on passing the funding bill. Millions of federal workers and critical services caught in the crossfire. Classic government move, am I right? This circus has happened before. Actually, let's dive into what Paul Barron's got cooking for us on this one. Listen to this.
U.S. government shutdown may signal a crypto market bottom. Here's the shutdowns since 1976. The big one was back in 2018 under Trump, 35 days. That was the biggest one. Here's the facts the media is not covering. The average length of a shutdown is around 8 days. The S&P 500 has ended higher 1 year after a shutdown, 86% of the cases. The S&P 500 also posted an average gain of 13% 1 year after the shutdown ends. So it seems and appears that the markets don't necessarily care about this.
So this is where my brain starts going wild, okay? Because look, maybe he's actually spot on with this whole thing. But let's be real for a second. There's been this massive crowd of people screaming about 10 days of darkness and all these crazy predictions. Truth is, I'm completely in the dark about what's coming next. But check this out. What I can tell you is we're sitting in day 1 of darkness right this very moment, right? So here's what's eating at me. How many days does this actually run? And when we finally emerge from this, what kind of reality are we stepping into? Because folks, there's some major dots we need to connect here. Cast your mind back to September 30th. That's the exact day President Trump dropped an executive order telling the US Treasury, and guys, that's literally where America keeps its piggy bank, to completely overhaul how payments move in and out. September 30th was go time for this massive modernization. And now here's what's cooking in my head. Is there some kind of link here? Real talk, I genuinely don't know that answer. So wait, could there actually be a link between this shutdown and them totally overhauling and bringing the US government payment system into the 21st century? And are they simultaneously axing tons of positions like everyone's been whispering about ever since before Election Day? All right, let's unpack this whole thing right now. Cambridge analysts just dropped some serious insights on why Wall Street's treating XRP like it's the next Bitcoin. Okay, buckle up. Making the case for XRP as Wall Street's secret weapon. So here's what's happening. Analyst Bradley Peake is putting forward this compelling theory that XRP is quietly becoming Wall Street's dark horse. And listen to this. He's saying this digital asset might blindside the doubters exactly like Bitcoin and Ethereum managed to do years ago. He's backing this up by referencing Nate Garassi over at the ETF store who's vibing with this same energy. Let me give you the backstory. Garassi pointed out last September that, remember all those early critics of Bitcoin and Ethereum ETFs? They straight up evaporated the moment billions upon billions started rolling in. For XRP, the momentum's literally turbocharging this entire argument right now. And okay, this is where things get spicy because we're diving deep in just a moment. Check this out. Coinblast data is showing us that CME XRP futures have absolutely demolished expectations, hitting over 1.25 billion in open interest. And wait for it, CME dropped the news in August that their XRP futures smashed through that 1 billion barrier faster than any other crypto derivative contract in their entire history. Now, market analysts like Peake are watching this tsunami of momentum crash straight into spot ETFs. Canary Capital's already forecasting a massive 5 billion in demand flooding in during just those initial weeks, while JP Morgan's crunching numbers at 8 billion rolling in annually. But plot twist, not every single issuer is sticking with the boring traditional price tracking ETFs. Amplify, this asset management firm, just dropped an application for something pretty slick. They're blending XRP with income-generating plays like covered calls. And guess what? They're not the only ones getting creative here. Other companies are diving into leveraged products and derivative-based strategies. What's the big takeaway? These asset managers are clearly spotting a golden opportunity to reel in the more seasoned, sophisticated investors with these custom-built XRP offerings. But hold on, because here's where this gets absolutely wild, especially when we're talking about this potential dark horse that Wall Street might be sleeping on. We just witnessed something crazy. All these ETF applications getting pulled back. And why would they do that? Because the SEC is basically winking at everyone saying, hey, we're approving all of you at once, and completely scrapping that brutal 240-day waiting game and the whole 19B-4 filing headache. I mean, come on, this is insanely exciting. Now pause for a second and let me paint you a picture here. I'm not guaranteeing this happens, but just visualize this with me for a moment. What if every single ETF gets the stamp of approval at the exact same time? Suddenly it clicks why BlackRock hasn't thrown their hat in the ring yet, doesn't it? They probably had insider knowledge that this whole drawn-out process was getting scrapped, streamlined, and fast-tracked. Just, boom, approved. So now they're not stuck waiting in some never-ending line anymore. Everyone's literally standing at the starting gate, ready to go. They could just drop their filing whenever they want, and snap, they're in the space, just like that. Now here's something that keeps running through my mind. Picture every single one of these ETFs going live all at once. And then, wait for it, the demand comes rushing in, even stronger than all the chatter we're already hearing. We're talking about demand that's absolutely devouring all that loose liquidity sitting out there in the market, sweeping it straight into these ETFs, locked down tight with qualified custodians. But hold on, because here's where it gets really spicy. Imagine the Clarity Act, that's the market infrastructure bill, by the way, actually makes it through and gets passed. The moment that happens, you're going to witness institutions that have been watching from the sidelines finally step onto the field because they'll genuinely need this thing for their everyday utility. And then, my friends, it becomes an all-out tug-of-war between the ETFs racing to scoop it up and stash it with qualified custodians, and the market makers plus financial institutions who absolutely require it for daily payments, clearing, and settlement operations going forward into the future. So let me ask you something. Is that the kind of scenario you'd be excited to watch unfold? Well, I'll tell you exactly where I stand. I'm absolutely looking toward it with anticipation. Seriously, I hope it plays out precisely like that. Now, remember that classic photo? You know the one, when Caroline Pham, who was a CFTC commissioner at the time, and she's actually the interim head right now, when she paid that visit to Ripple. Yeah, just wanted to highlight that piece of history for you. The CME Group just dropped some massive news. Oh wait, my bad. They're launching 24/7 crypto futures options trading in 2026, and we're talking just 3 months out. The CME Group is about to send this thing into orbit. You've got to see this. CME Group brought us non-stop crypto trading in the first quarter of 2026. Listen, I'm telling you right now, the pace of change is absolutely insane. But meanwhile, everyone's over here losing their minds about the government shutdown. Here's what I need you to understand though. Just be patient, because when the lights come back on, we might be staring at something completely unrecognizable. That's exactly what I'm getting at. Commissioner Pham, the interim head running the CFTC, Caroline Pham, you need to flip to my quotes on pages 29, 32, and 46 in the Citi Stablecoins report. This is fire. Seriously. Now I'm going to flip these around because of the way they structured it, so I'm showing you this gem first. Innovation doesn't exist without safety coming first. It's not one or the other, they're literally inseparable. Brilliant statement. We understand it. Absolutely critical. Then, she comes out with this, and this is still Caroline Pham, acting chairman at the CFTC talking. Collateral management is the killer app for stablecoins. Okay, I'm going to say that again for emphasis. So collateral management is literally the killer app for stablecoins, right? We're talking about enabling real-time programmable settlement, and I mean real-time across different asset classes. This thing unlocks capital efficiencies like crazy and just frees up balance sheets left and right. Oh man, wait. Freeing up the balance sheet. Hold on, that phrase just triggered something in my brain. So it can drive these powerful ripple effects, she says. Wait. Caroline, are you seriously trolling us right now? Like, are you actually trolling us, Caroline? Commissioner Pham, and look, I mean absolutely no disrespect to you here, Commissioner Pham, but did you just say powerful ripple effect? I mean, we're talking about more credit flowing to businesses, way greater liquidity flooding into markets, and boom, a more resilient financial system overall. And honestly, I totally agree with that vision. Now, here's her final comment that really got me thinking. What's the bigger question we should be asking? It's about what comes next with big tech jumping into financial services and how this whole landscape is going to shift if commercial enterprises, regular corporates, start stepping into the financial sector. Well, let me tell you something. When she mentioned this whole idea about greater market liquidity, that powerful ripple effect, unlocking capital efficiencies, freeing up balance sheets, you want to know what immediately popped into my head? Just listen to this.
And I think one of the things we all have to remember is that the value of a token over the long term is really going to be derived by its utility. What problem is it solving? How big is that problem? How many customers do you have? There's no question there's a lot of hype in this system, and I don't actually think that's a good thing. For Ripple, we use this digital asset called XRP to settle liquidity needs between banks. So today there's $27 trillion parked at different banks around the world so they can make payments between each other. Our view is you can use a digital asset like XRP to do that in real time. Because XRP has been so efficient, it settles a transaction about 3 seconds compared to Bitcoin. So it just passes through that currency for that period of time. That's correct.
Boom! Right there. That's exactly what Brad Garlinghouse was saying not too long ago. I mean, we're talking maybe a couple years back, but here's the thing. It's still completely relevant today. What really gets me fired up is hearing the interim head of the CFTC basically repeating those exact same talking points. And I genuinely believe these are the talking points that are going to get unleashed once the Clarity Act gets passed and signed into law. That's my honest take on this whole situation. Now, look at this recent crypto sprint over at the CFTC. Brad Garlinghouse was right there alongside other major crypto industry leaders. I mean, come on, how exciting is that? Because here we are, stuck in this whole US government shutdown mess, right? And we're sitting here waiting for this Clarity Act to drop. When you really think about unlocking those capital efficiencies, freeing up balance sheets, making sure stablecoins are monitored the right way, that's when things get interesting. Because then we'll finally see big tech and financial services crash into this space, and commercial enterprises and corporations will actually start using it for real. So this is exactly what I've been saying, guys. We're talking about unlocking $27 trillion here. Like, the crypto sprint is actually happening. And we just found out that Ripple's partnership with Thunes is actually tapping into Swift's massive network of 11,000 banks worldwide. Now, sure, yeah, they're keeping us behind a firewall from the actual end customers. But you know what? I'm totally cool with that. Because here's the thing. As long as we're getting that utility flowing through the protocol, that's what counts. The real value lives in the protocol itself, my friends. Let's just focus on getting that liquidity flowing onto the network. And honestly, that's really all I care about at the end of the day. That's where my head's at. But hey, look, this isn't financial advice. Not for me, not for you, not for anybody watching. All right. I'll see you all in the next video.